Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about R.E.M. R.E.M are a band close to my heart. I discovered them properly in 2012 and delved deep into their archives and basically got to a point where I listen to them all the time, every day. The band formed in 1982 in Athens, Georgia. There's 4 members: Michael Stipe, Mike Mills, Peter Buck and Bill Berry. They formed at a church party by coincidence. It was never a plan, I don't believe. I'm someone who never got to see the band live because I was too young and I only found them in 2012 properly. But I knew all the main songs that you're supposed to know. Michael Stipe is the singer, Mike Mills is the bassist and backing vocalist, and Peter Buck is the guitarist, and Bill Berry is the drummer. Michael Stipe said they formed a band to travel America like Jack Kerouac did. I feel an affinity with the band R.E.M. because Michael Stipe's lyrics and the sound of his voice, which is like a country, sometimes country, it can go from country to gospel sounding, and it can highlight a lot of human vulnerability, and that was attractive to me at one point. I find a lot of comparisons with the Smiths, with early R.E.M. music, because it's jingle jangly guitar, enigmatic singer. R.E.M. split their songwriting credits 4 ways, so everything's fair in the band. Peter Buck knows every band fights over songwriting credits. Anyway, that's enough about that. Let's start with the records. Their first EP, Chronic Town. They signed to independent label IRS Recordings. And there they are. The music is very driven and the lyrics are not clear at all, and you can tell how shy they are, and neither member wanted their instrument to be in the mix at all. They wanted it lower and lower and lower. So Michael Stipe's lyrics are very obscure, and sometimes he doesn't even know what he's saying. I'd be very interested to hear anyone else's stories, because obviously I have nothing memory-wise apart from me and the songs experience and listening to them over time. I don't have any memories of the band or anything like that. They are the one band that I wish I could see now live, because they broke up in 2011. Okay, then their debut album Mama came out in 1983. This features their first radio hit, Radio Free Europe. This one's a different mix to the single, which they had to fight over the rights for, because the guy who released it on Hiptone was a bit difficult, I think. I think that's how the story goes. Talk About the Passion, that was another single on here. This is continuing the musical progression from their EP of jingly jangly music with very obscure lyrics and phrases. The producer on these last two incorporated different studio techniques and field recordings in the songs, so that's that extra touch. Then we have Reckoning, which is it feels more of a concise effort. We've got 7 Chinese Brothers, which I think is Stipe's first delve into children's fables in his lyrics, and very themes of youth and nostalgia. Pretty Persuasion, that's been covered by Hole, and Michael Stipe was a fan of Hole in the 90s, and he was friends with Kurt Cobain and his wife, who is the lead singer of Hole. Next up is Fables of the Reconstruction, or Reconstruction of the Fables. This album was recorded in London and produced by Joe Boyd, who also produced Nick Drake's early 70s, late 60s albums. Unfortunately, the band don't like this one because of the pain they went through to record it. It took a long time in dreary London. The first song on here is called Feeling Gravity's Pull, and it is quite discordant and harsh and explosive, and I imagine it was fun to play live. Then you've got singles Driver 8 and Can't Get There From Here. This album also continues use of stories, children's stories and fables, hence why it's called Fables of the Reconstruction. There's also a song on here about Michael Stipe's granddad. When he went away, he would give them a coin to remember him, and the coin would go on the tracks and it would mark the coins or something. There's songs on here that deal with sentimentality and childhood and nostalgia. There's the IRS label, which is on all of the R.E.M albums. I also have the UK single Wendell G from the album, which is the last song. I have no idea what the song's about, but it connects on an emotional level. It has lyrics like about chicken wire and trees, and it almost gives you that feeling that there was an accident or something that could have been avoided, and it's mourning something, but I have no idea what. And that's kind of the beauty of R.E.M, is all the lyrics can mean whatever they want to you. You can make them up just because they don't even know what they're singing. That last album showcased the vocal abilities of every member as they created these harmonies, these multi-layered harmonies that go in different directions. Next album, 1986's Life's Rich Pageant, is one of my favourites, and the sound of the band is to the max. The vocals are pushed much more in front. They're sounding a lot more confident, a lot more stadium rock, which is where they end up in a few years' time. Begin the Begin starts the album with a bang, and it just carries on. This track listing is wrong for some reason. We put the songs in the wrong order. I don't know why. Cuyahoga is a good song. It's about the rivers burning, and they're starting to meld their ideas into the songs politically and about the environment and stuff, which is what they were always about. I Believe is one of my favourite songs. It's a song of hope and change, and also it has lyrics to do with their youth and little meaningful things that don't mean anything to anyone else, sort of thing. There's also a cover song on this, which is the first time a cover song has been on an R.E.M album, I think, and they were known for covering all sorts of bands, Aerosmith and the Trogs and all different types of bands. A lot of the live set was made up of covers when they first started, as most bands are. Then they put out a compilation called Dead Letter Office, which is a collection of the covers, like I said, and B-sides and stuff. There's lots of Velvet Underground on this, and songs that they felt were complete, like Ages of You, which is a fun one. But you can tell in the chorus, because the chorus is missing so many lyrics, they're just sounds. There's a fun little cover of King of the Road by Roger Miller on here, where they don't even know the words, and Mike Mills is calling out the chords like they're learning to play it as they play it, which is kind of bizarre. There's notes on here by Peter Buck, the guitarist, explaining each song, which is nice. So this is a nice little fan service album. After so many years, R.E.M started a fan club, and they would put out Christmas singles every year with random covers and stuff. So I think they gave a lot back to the fans. And then this album, Document, is the last independent. This is the last album on an independent label, and it featured their first step into the mainstream. They claim that the mainstream caught up with them. They didn't compromise to the mainstream, but as the albums keep going and they keep touring and stuff, the music gets louder and louder and more produced, which you can definitely hear on I also have this single for Finest Work Song, which may be an import from Holland. It has a medley of Time After Time, a cover of Peter Gabriel's Red Rain and South Central Rain. There were also on this compilation Athens Inside Out for a film, in which the two R.E.M tracks on here is the cover of All I've Got to Do Is Dream and an acoustic version of Swan Swan H, both filmed and recorded in a church. Then R.E.M signed to a major label, Warner Brothers, for quite a big number, but not quite as big as when they were re-signed in 1996. There were other labels interested, but Warner Brothers offered complete creative freedom, so that's the one that they went with. And this album is Green from 1988. This one has the first printed lyrics on an R.E.M album for the song World Leader Pretend, which is one of my favourites and probably would be relevant now. This one has the singles Pop Song 89, Stand and Orange Crush. Orange Crush is about the weapons they used in the Vietnam War to mess up people. It's a chemical weapon, and a lot of people think it is about Orange Crush as a drink. So that's quite a lyrical mix-up there. On this they tackle the concepts of basic pop music, songs like Stand, which is just basically stand, and talking about direction and where you are. Pop Song 89 is, the lyrics are, should we talk about the weather or should we talk about the government? Like, almost poking fun at themselves. Michael Stipe's voice has evolved, certainly on songs like You Are the Everything, Hair Shirt, and Turn You Inside Out. On the first two there, he sounds very gospel-y. Sounds a bit more like he's in the church and he's channeling some energy. And there's sometimes when he sings like that, his eyes are like rolling back into his head. So yeah, this was their first real proper commercial, fully commercial album on a major label, and it sparked the 1989 World Tour, where they first started playing stadiums, and they were not very comfortable with that. This is the DVD that came out of it, or VHS at the time. They had screens in the back that said things to do with audience participation, because they were poking fun at the fact that a stadium's too big to have audience participation, which is something they valued when they played small clubs. After the Green World Tour of 1989, they basically holed up in a studio till 1993, till 1994 maybe? No, till 93. And in that space of time they put out Out of Time and Automatic for the People. To many people this is their best album and possibly the first R.E.M album they ever listened to, because of the success of Losing My Religion, which I think won a Grammy for the band. Probably their first one, I'm not sure. But this is the German pressing of the 12-inch single, which includes Fretless, which is the only place you can get this unless you buy the soundtrack, Until the End of the World. Anyway, Out of Time was their attempt at writing love songs, but I don't think these are all straightforward love songs, because Losing My Religion isn't actually about religion, it's about being at the end of your tether, and it was a southern term, southern slang. Radio Song laments about how bad radio is, or was then in 1991, and it just seems quite ironic that Losing My Religion became such a big radio hit when they were poking fun at radio songs, and they made a radio song without even knowing it. The second side has Shiny Happy People, which is their most jolly song, but even when R.E.M do a happy song it still sounds sarcastic or ironic. that song and Me and Honey feature Kate Pearson from the B-52s, which is a fellow Athens, Georgia band. This is one of my favourite albums as well. Some of my favourites like Belong on here, that has a chorus full of just showering vocal harmonies. Country Feedback is a quiet one, acoustic one, where Michael Stipe's very fragile and he's singing all these random things about relationships and stuff. I think where he feels like he's giving everything. I also have the 12-inch single for Shiny Happy People, which features an acoustic version of Losing My Religion and a little instrumental 40-second song. I also forgot I have the Orange Crush single from the album Green with, on the B-side there is a Syd Barrett cover, Dark Globe. Before Out of Time, IRS put out a compilation to capitalize on R.E.M's growing success, and that released a greatest hits type thing called Eponymous. There's wheat on the cover, so it says on the spine, "File under grain," and on the back it's Michael Stipe, and it says, "They airbrushed my face." This collects all the singles: Radio Free Europe, Gardening at Night, South Central Rain, Don't Go Back to Rockville, Driver 8, Fall on Me, with some different mixes and stuff. And I believe the band had some involvement in this. Don't go back to Rockville, waste another year. Also interesting on Out of Time, Me and Honey's about a man's perspective of a pregnancy, and what that means to him personally, which is interesting because Michael Stipe has been sexually ambiguous over time. Eventually it came out that Michael Stipe has had relationships with men and women over time, so it's interesting him as a writer who can write from different perspectives. I also have the 25th anniversary edition of Out of Time, and I managed also to get this slip mat for the album, which is very cool. Album artwork has been repackaged so that the logo is no longer on the art. You can see the art fully, and it comes in this strong cardboard. The artwork on 2 records on one side and a record on the other. On this you've got the album remastered. Then you have 4 sides of demos, which some are new and some have already been bootlegged before in the past. For the Out of Time era, they had TV appearances, Grammy appearances and stuff like that, but there was no actual tour. They also did MTV Unplugged that year, and I have this 2014 Record Store Day release for the MTV Unplugged 1991 to 2001 complete sessions. This was at one point one of the most expensive records I ever owned. I think I paid £120 for it. I don't know how much it's worth now. You have to check on Discogs. But it's quite a deluxe package. It's got all these sections with the band obscured by TV static. It's a 4 LP set. You have the 1991 Unplugged sessions and the 2001 Unplugged sessions that they did. And yeah, the first sessions they did is it's the band at their peak, I feel. Especially Stipe's voice on songs like Fall on Me, and End of the World as We Know It, which was the request by MTV that they played that song, I think. So after Out of Time, they returned to the studio again with no touring. After they toured constantly from 82 to 89, they decided to do a 2-album studio break thing, and 92 brought Automatic for the People. This is also deemed one of the most successful albums, and an album that I think means a lot to a lot of people. It features the universal song Everybody Hurts and Man on the Moon, that's a big one. Night Swimming, Find the River, and The Sidewinder Sleeps Tonight. The Sidewinder Sleeps Tonight they never played live, and that's kind of like the only upbeat, happy song, and that's kind of about cartoons, I think. And it has some lyrics that are very easily misheard. Come and try to wake her up. Come in and try to wake her up, and people hear it as Calling in Jamaica. The songs on these last two were aimed to not be too political, because they'd done that on Green and Document and stuff. But there is little mentions, like on Drive with Bushwhacked. Starmy Kitten is an interesting slow song, because the star is censored as the F word, and it's about a relationship that's just boiled down to that. Basically, it's boiled down to sex, there's nothing left. So it seems, that's what I get out of it anyway. Man on the Moon is about Andy Kaufman, the comedian, and about, it's almost like Stipe watching telly as a kid, made into a song. Night Swimming, that's about night swimming, swimming at night, and it's so raw and emotional, and his voice is so Find the River, that is, to me, that's about growing up. Yeah. I have the 12-inch single for Drive, which is the first song on the album. And it's quite an epic, moody song. B-sides are World Leader Pretend and a cover song of Leonard Cohen's First We Take Manhattan. Then I have quite a popular picture disc, Night Swimming, with live songs World Leader Pretend, Belong and Low. So, for Automatic the People, they didn't tour, but they did do a show in London under the name, a secret show under the name Bingo Handjob, and I think I have the bootleg for that. Yeah, I have a bootleg for the London show. It was acoustic, and I think Billy Bragg was there as well. I think they did 2 shows, so that was interesting. Did lots of covers as well. Then they went back in the studio again and recorded Monster. Monster is a more straightforward hard rock, almost glam rock album sound. It's quite interesting because some people like it, some people don't. Some interesting songs like Tongue, which is kind of a weird organ laid back sound about giving head to a woman from the point of view of the woman, because she never gets it, I think. So there's a lot of songs in here that are like Michael Stipe singing about other people in other people's things. It's like not all autobiography, which a lot of his lyrics aren't, to be honest. What's the Frequency, Kenneth is the big single on here that most people know. Crush with Eyeliners, like a glam rock song about. He also played with gender in this album as well, which is like him being more confident as a person. A lot of people know him from this era as being completely bald as well. Through the Automatic for the People era. I say era, but it's only one album. An album, is an album an era? Or is it just an album? Cycle. Toe cycle. Album cycle. Rumour has it that Kurt Cobain, when Kurt Cobain was found, when he died, when he'd killed himself, they found in his CD player Automatic for the People. Now Michael Stipe was close friends with Kurt Cobain and Rivers Phoenix, the actor, and that affected this album because there's a song called Let Me In, directed at Kurt Cobain, basically calling him to let him in. And Michael Stipe was trying to get through to him and to make music together, and only God knows what that would have sounded like. That would have been very interesting. And that's a very raw, open song about how he feels. They toured for Monster, and the tour was affected by so many health problems. Michael Stipe had a hernia. Bill Berry had an aneurysm on stage and had to be fixed. His brain had to be operated on in a German hospital, and if it wasn't, they had good doctors at the time, and if it'd been anywhere else, he might have passed away from that. And I think that affected him so much that he decided to leave the band. And Bill Berry was kind of the rock of the band that kept it all together. He was the one who said, okay, enough's enough, the song's done. So in future R.E.M, like from 1998 onwards, the songs kind of became a bit too produced and went on for too long. Anyway, while they was on tour for Monster, they wrote and recorded New Adventures in Hi-Fi, which is their 1990. It was released in 97 or 96. 96. This was written and recorded on tour, and it has a very huge sense of travel. There's a special edition with Polaroids or something that was released. I don't have that. There's a song here called Ebola the Letter, which features Patti Smith, which is one of Michael Stipe's heroes and probably the inspiration for all his singing and why he wanted to be in a band. Electrolyte, that's a song about Los Angeles, I think, and Mulholland Drive and being confident and stuff. Leave is a strong song on here. That's a long song and it has sirens and a big acoustic intro, and it's really explosive, and there's a real sense of empowerment in this album, especially on songs like the Wake Up Bomb, Practice My T-Rex Moves, and Make a Scene. It's all about being confident in yourself and your own skin. This album is the one that the band, I think this is everyone's favourite in the band. I'm not sure how fans think about it. So then Bill Berry said, I'm leaving. Hold on. In the height of 91, IRS also released another one of those best ofs, and this is quite similar to Eponymous, but it has little known songs like Carnival of Sorts, Perfect Circle, I Believe, and stuff like that, and basically it's the same as Eponymous, I think. The mixes might be different. Please let me know if you would like to see more discography videos or a slower, just album by album thing, or anything you'd like to see, some more guitar videos, or anything. I need some feedback, definitely, on if what I'm doing needs any improvement. Moving on. So Bill Berry left the band and there was a tripod, like the thing I'm filming with you, three-legged dog, as he kept saying. Michael Stipe, Mike Mills and Peter Buck in 1998 released Up. This was born out of home demos that Peter Buck was making. With this and the next album, there's like a few songs that I like personally. Day Sleeper was the first single off here, and I think that they released that because it's kind of safe. It sounds just like R.E.M. It's about a guy who works overnight and lives and sleeps through the day and the strains of that. And it's quite a good song. It can really pinpoint the loneliness of that. I think they started putting the lyrics in with this one, but unfortunately my pressing doesn't come with the lyrics. Didn't come with the lyrics. I think I ordered this from Discogs a few years ago. Yeah, the real... Oh, also, At My Most Beautiful is probably the closest they've done to a sweet love song. I think there's a lyric where he says about counting someone's eyelashes while they sleep, and that's kind of cute, I guess. Or creepy, depending on how you view it. My favourite song in here is Walk Unafraid, because that is an empowering song. First Aid Kit covered it, and Peter Buck's featured on their latest album. But there's a lack of cohesion and a lack of effort, maybe. Like, I know that they went through a thing of not wanting to do this anymore because Bill left, and they didn't know whether they wanted to carry on without him. But he encouraged them to carry on because he didn't want to be the one who broke up the band and stopped them from progressing. Sad Professor, I like that as well as a sad song. because that's all about hating where you ended up and like really picking apart your own character and seeing all the negative things and hopefully learning from it. So that was Up, and the title of the album Up came just like out of time. They left it to the last minute to come up with an album title. Usually they have a list of album titles, like random things. But with that one, they saw it written on a box, you know, like This Way Up. And they said, we'll call it Up. And with Out of Time, they were literally out of time of making the record, so they called it Out of Time. Then in 2001, they came out with the album Reveal, which I think is a good summer album. It's very colourful, just like the cover. I think the cover reflects the music here. The singles, All the Way to Reno and Imitation of Life are good sunshine pop, just like what R.E.M kind of capture usually when they're not singing depressing things. This one does come with lyrics. I'll Take the Rain is a good one. I think that's about protecting someone or something. All the Way to Reno has a very cheesy video of them in a prison. No, it's not in a prison. It's in a school. I've Been High. I enjoy that. But this also has like a mix of electronic and the normal guitar jangly stuff that they do, just like Up. But I think there's more return to guitar and Reveal. Then they toured some more arenas and stuff. There's a best of. The best of R.E.M was released with the DVD thing with all the videos, or most of the videos. And that's released on vinyl, but I don't have it. There was also songs that had never been released on it. They released a single called Bad Day, which musically is the same as It's the End of the World as We Know It, but it predates that song. It goes all the way back to the Life's Rich pageant era. But they didn't like it. I don't think they had the lyrics quite right. The best of with the moon on the cover is very rare now, and it's always usually very pricey on Discogs, and you just need it for collector's sake, really. Then, after that, after Reveal, came Around the Sun in 2004. This album, they worked on it to death, and the album suffers for that because it is overproduced and it's missing that raw life feel that was on usual R.E.M albums. And look at this packaging. It's the most boring packaging anyone ever come up with. I guess it might be influenced by Radiohead's OK Computer with the white and the black simplicity. But the singles, Leaving New York is a good one. That's about missing someone who's leaving. The Outsiders features a rap. All these songs sound better live because they sound more raw and less produced. I like Aftermath. I like Boy in the Well. The Ascent of Man has a very strange chorus where he's just screaming yeah over and over again. But they still retain that fragile, sentimental Michael Stipe vocal, but it's just too overproduced, kind of. They toured for Around the Sun, and then I think they took a few years off, and that because this next album they were calling it quite the comeback, but they've never been gone, and that's Accelerate. And this is a return to like Life's Rich Pageant and Document and the hard, fast R.E.M songs. Living Well is the Best Revenge, Supernatural, Super Serious, Man-Sized Wreath, all big rockers. Not sure how I feel about this artwork. It's just kind of city, but I guess it represents the speed and the busyness of the city and the music being busy. Hollow Man, that's an interesting song. It's also about self-improvement. I think there's a lot of R.E.M songs that are about self-improvement, and that's a good one. Houston is about the political situation. This album and the last one also continue the political stuff because of what was going on at the time in 2004 to 2008 politically in America with after 9/11 and everything, and then Obama. I'm Gonna DJ is like a old fun R.E.M song, really short and sweet. They have quite a number of short and sweet songs. They toured for Accelerate, and Michael Stipe started having blue makeup over his eyes like a strange Batman villain goblin. I also forgot to mention there was another 2 box sets that are live. We have R.E.M. live in 2007. This is from the Around the Sun tour. This is the 3 LP set with the, I think it came with the CD and DVD. Features a lot of old songs, a lot of new songs, mostly songs from Around the Sun. Then we have one from 2008 called R.E.M. Live at Olympia. This was a rehearsal situation they set up, experiment, that wasn't actually a show, but it was them rehearsing and people could come and see them in their most like raw, and where they tested all these different songs. And they played a lot of obscure songs from the very beginning, from Chronic Town and Murmur and Reckoning and Fables. Lots of early stuff, lots of new songs as well that were going to be on Accelerate. So this is quite an exciting, if you are an R.E.M. fan, this is quite an exciting little collection. Then the years go on and they release this masterpiece. I consider it a masterpiece, Collapse Into Now. This is the band's last album, 2011. They came out after releasing this and said, that's it, we're done. We're going to go out on a high and we're never going to get back together. But we're all on good terms and we love what we've done. Discoverer, that's a... Michael Stipe deems that song quite an autobiographical song. It's about being in New York and he had an espresso in one hand and vodka in the other, and he was just staring up at the city and feeling, I don't know, the feeling of that basically. Ebola has an interesting video with that guy. Who's that guy? He's dancing through the street, really like improv stuff, and it's really cool. It's really fun to watch. Oh My Heart, that is a reply. That is a sequel to Houston on the last one with political themes like if the government doesn't kill me, the storm will. Or if the storm doesn't kill me, the government will. And they've changed the lyric on either song. It Happened Today is a throwback, seems like a throwback to Belong, with the big, loud, primal vocal melodies. Walk It Back is another one of those fragile, very close-up relationship moments. That Someone Is You is about meeting someone, I think, for the first time and being like, that person made the first move and really changed your life, kind of thing. The last song, Blue, is epic, and it also ends how the album starts, and also features Patti Smith and spoken word, and it's kind of a callback to Belong, in that Belong spoken word as well, but also has these loud vocal melodies that tie it all together. And I think this album is an amazing way for the band to end. Obviously I wish they would come back, as a lot of people do, but if this is it, then this is it, you know. Same year they also released a compilation called Part Lies, Part Truth, Part Heart, Part Garbage, and there was 3 songs on that that went completely new, called We All Go Back to Where We Belong, and that's a beautiful song. The video, there's 2 different videos with different people. A Month of Saturdays, which is a 1-minute 45 song, I think, a real short but sweet, fun little song like they would do, and Hallelujah, which is a big epic gospel sounding song like Automatic for People. I don't know why R.E.M. means so much to me, but it does. I don't know if I heard them when I was like really young, because sometimes you think a song comes along and you think like you've heard it before. Like my friend, the first song he responded to as a kid was Heroes by David Bowie, and then later on in life, when he discovered it as an adult, it really just hit him like he'd heard it before and like he'd loved it. And I don't know if anyone else feels like that way, that they have such an affinity with the music, and I feel like I have that with R.E.M. I could listen to them. I mean, they have such a wide catalogue and lots of different types of songs that I could listen to them forever. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.